Head over to www.johnbartoloshow.com. Go check out all the sponsors there. Appreciate them and the reel. I want to give a special thanks to the crew here today and everybody involved. Got a special guest today. I'm excited about this one, needless to say. Mainly because we come from the same area, and it's something about the water in that area. We got the one and only president of UFC, Dana White. What's going on, brother?
What's up, man?
This is fucking unbelievable.
This place is unbelievable. You got a cool little
it's nuts, right?
Yeah,
it's
very cool.
Nuts. When people come in here, I love watching their face. The first initial reaction is the best one.
Yeah, this is the coolest podcast studio I've ever been in.
You got a pretty cool office yourself.
Yeah, my office doesn't suck, but this is cool.
So, you come in here and there's something about, where we're from. I want to start there because, we don't go softly into the night being from where we're from. I mean, we could spend all day talking about Boston and New England and just the roots.
Right.
It's pretty fucking crazy, right?
Yeah.
How guys like you come out of there, we were talking earlier about Jay Cutler, the body with some other folks. It's something about it. Now you got a cool crop of fighters coming out of there too. Rogan.
Boston too.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
What is it in the water?
I don't know, man. Boston's just a really cool city. And, I always say Boston's one of those overpopulated, overeducated cities. And, there's a lot of people there that are smart, have great ideas, are just fucking cool. And, they take off and go somewhere else and make it big somewhere else.
And we can get kicked in the teeth and keep on going.
That's true, man.
That's definitely true.
It's a tough, rough city. Yeah. But in a good way.
Oh, yeah. I tell people all the time, I'm like, it's not like the movies, but there's this factor. There's a certain grit
there
that
are
comes.
Some movies that it's exactly like.
I thought The Town was the closest. I thought The Town was pretty close to the accents and to the mannerisms.
Especially that part of town, too.
Of course. 100%. Chucktown,
yeah.
Of course. Now, I heard a rumor, and I want to dive into this, that when COVID broke, that you got the whole team in a room, and your mission was to keep them all working. Can you expand on that and like what that was?
Yeah, so
because I was fucking blown away and it was inspirational to me.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I took a lot of heat, a lot of bullets on that one, but I got the whole crew in, my executive team, and there were guys that didn't feel the same way that I did, but we got together, we figured it out. I was willing to build a lab to start testing for COVID, whatever it was going to take, I was willing to do. The way I always look at shit is, it's America, man. This is fucking. When does America ever fucking roll over?
Never.
And go hide in their fucking houses and, you know what I mean, and quit. It's just I couldn't wrap my head around that, And thank God, I got a building full of people that feel the same way. All my fighters obviously were willing to fight through COVID. We had a couple here and there that were, I wouldn't say what we're nervous about it is, to be expected. And my employees were ready to roll. So all I had to do was figure it out. When there's a will, there's a way.
What I loved about it was you knew you had a responsibility to everybody that worked there.
That's it. That's my fucking job. My job is to figure out how to keep you guys. Let me put it to you this way, without sounding like a dick. Okay?
No, sound like a dick.
I have money. Okay, I have money. I got a really nice fucking house. I could go hide in my house for as long as it takes to do it, right? But that's not the case for all of my people. That's not the case for all of my employees. That's not the case for all of my fighters, right? So it never made sense to me for us to just let this thing win.
Right. That's what it's about.
How do you let this thing fucking win? There's just no way. I'm not built like that. I'm not built that way.
I don't blame you. I was inspired. Like, I was like, fuck, we got to work straight. I got fired up hearing the story secondhand. I was, and they speak for, everybody that I've talked to, they're like, yeah, he's a fucking animal. Like, that's fucking awesome. And I'm like, yeah, I got to wake up an hour earlier. I had like a Jocko moment. I was like, I have to wake up an hour earlier every day just to catch this guy. That's fucking awesome. And you're right. There's a lot of other presidents and CEOs and people that would go in the multi-million-dollar home, hide out,
Well, and this is basically business 101. So what you do is, in these type of situations, is you lay off 30% of your staff.
Right.
You take all your executives and you cut their pay in half. And sit back in your house and, you make sure that you adjust all the costs and all this other shit.
And get the whoopee.
Fuck
that's
that.
it.
Fuck that shit. We ain't laying off 30% of the people who help build this business and help build this sport. And my executive team, who works hard and travels all over the world, cut their salaries in half and all this stuff. It's the pussy way out, man.
100%.
That's just not. I'm not built that way.
100%.
So we didn't lay off one employee. We didn't cut anybody's salary. We honored every contract that we signed and all the fighter contracts in 2020, and we beat the shit out of 2020.
I think you beat the shit out of a lot of different entities, and one of them that comes up a lot is everybody's saying that the UFC surpassed NHL now. And do you feel like this is the time to gain ground as a business leader and as I'm gonna fuck these guys, I'm gonna gain ground on them, because all those other entities totally fucked up this SJW thing and BLM and everything else, and you just came through it like, we're gonna do what we do and we're gonna focus on what we do and fuck the rest.
We never, through the whole thing, we never talked about politics. My personal politics aside. Okay? We never talked about politics. And when you turned on the TV to watch fights, we never talked about COVID. We never talked about any of that shit. When people tune in to watch sports, they're tuning in to escape all the bullshit that's going on in the real world, man.
Amen.
And through this whole thing, the UFC remained that place where you could go, and no matter what your political position was, no matter how you felt about any of this other stuff, you could come here and get away from all of it
and enjoy.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's a major mistake and I think a lot of them will study what you did, because there's a lot of smart people in those rooms too, but I think there's no doubt they're going to study what you did, and you were able to just kind of say, we're going to focus on what we do good.
The media started to instill fear in everybody, whether it was your COVID or your political, affiliations, or whether you did this or that. The media had everybody so afraid. I think they did a lot of things they normally wouldn't do. I don't give a fuck about the media, any of them. Write what you want. I had the New York Times after me, the LA Times, the fucking CNNs of the world. They were all.
You can't bend the knee.
Yeah.
You can't bend the knee.
Fuck those guys. What have they ever done? What have they ever accomplished? What have they ever built? Who's ever depended on any of them for a paycheck? If you let the media determine how you're going to run your life, let alone your business, how you're going to run your life,
100%.
You're nuts.
Yeah, and we saw it play out with the Gina Carano thing. I mean, that was friggin' believable what happened to her. And I became a fan immediately after, because I'm like, look, she's just being who she is, and she's eating shit for it, and it made no sense to me. It made no sense to me.
Listen, the mistake that she made is, and I know what she was saying, and they twisted her words and everything else. You can't compare anything to the Holocaust. You know what I mean? Can't compare anything to the Holocaust. It's just, and she knows she made a mistake. She deleted it. She's a human being.
Right. 100%.
We all make mistakes. That isn't her first, and it won't be her last. But you're going to bury her, destroy her, take her career. It's disgusting.
What sucks is the Twitter weirdos get on her case, and I think that it's a bigger mission. I think Kathleen Kennedy's trying to fuck with Favreau, because he's got a successful thing going on with the Mandalorian, and she's trying to take down characters. So there's a greater wrangling going on in that.
Always.
It's espionage at the highest level. Right?
Anytime you see this stuff that goes on in the media or social media,
100%.
That's what it's all about, man. You're absolutely right.
100%.
There's always an agenda behind it.
Does it excite you to see that happen with some of your fighters reach that level where they start doing movies and they start getting into some of the other stuff and start making a living in movies and in different stuff? You get excited because it's incredible. It's part of your tree, right? It's like part of the coaching tree.
100%. When you see the Conor McGregors and the Ronda Rouseys and all these other people that are doing cool things outside of fighting, I love it.
You're like, I found those motherfuckers. But it's fun. It's exciting to see it. Now here's the deal. Everybody doubles down, whether it's the woke culture, the weirdos, everything else on this stuff. what do you attribute, like, what is the mindset that makes you just kind of fly over it? Like, do you tell your guys, like, listen, we're going to focus on what we do, everything else, you know, we don't care what people do on their Twitter, or do you kind of have a standard that you try to have them adhere to?
Listen, you can't have anybody acting like a lunatic and saying
right, 100%.
crazy things that are just bad or hurtful and things like that. But at the end of the day, you know, it's like Colby Covington. Is Colby Covington a dick? Absolutely, he's a dick. But the guy's entitled to his own opinion.
Right.
You know, when he was doing what he was doing, everybody was like, you know, this guy's got to go. You got to. Why? Because he has his own opinion. You might not agree with it, and you don't have to like him, and you don't even have to buy his pay-per-views. You know, he can have his own opinion.
Right. 100%.
Even if I don't agree with it, and listen, he said lots of bad things about me. No, he's entitled to his own opinion, even about me.
Right.
So. Yeah, I don't ever put that on the fighters. But I mean, you've met a lot of our fighters. You've had tons of fighters on this podcast, and you know, we're all very much aligned. I think when it comes to, you know, these people are out there. There's a reason they're fighters. These people weren't built to sit in cubicles and do regular people shit. These kids are special. They're special. They're different than not every other person. Not only that, every other athlete, they're built differently. That's why I knew when I was so arrogant about we're gonna go through COVID, we're gonna be first to do this, because I knew they would go.
Leadership, though.
I knew they would go.
Yeah, it's leadership. It's not. I don't see that as arrogance. I think it's leadership, and I think getting everybody in a room and handling it the way it was handled, conversely to even the Gina situation, by running around and posting it and not no one sitting down face to face, you got to be man enough, right, to sit down in front of your troops and say, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to approach it, for better or worse. Who's in, you know?
100%. That's exactly the way it was.
Yeah, and I don't think it can be any other way. I think, you know, you guys, in my opinion, at the UFC, through your leadership, have surpassed the NHL, in my opinion. I mean, I don't think it's a question.
Thanks.
I don't think it's a question.
My attitude on this thing was, who cares what these other people do?
Right.
Let them run their business however they want to. And let me tell you what we're going to do. Yeah. We're going to charge that fucking hill. That's what we're going to do.
I think that's perfect. I fucking love it. Now, everything aside, there's something about fighting, right, that leads to being more capable. The common theme I get when I get all the fighters in here, they love, you know, shooting, they love shooting sports, they love the guns, but they want to be more capable people. Like, it's a deeper meaning. They usually have a self-defense story or something came over them to want to pursue that. Was it the same with you when you got started?
Yeah, well, listen, I've been passionate and in love with fighting my whole life since I was a kid. I always loved fighting. One of the lucky things about me is I knew exactly what I wanted to do since I was a kid.
Right.
You know, people thought I was crazy. You know, when you're 19 years old and like, you know, what are you going to do? I'm going to get in the fight business.
Yeah. It's like saying I want to land on the moon.
It's the dumbest thing anybody had ever heard. You
right.
know? So, but it was my passion. It's what I loved. It's what I still love to do. It's, you know, everybody asks me, you know, everybody always attributes things to money. You have enough money, you know, to do whatever you want. What are you going to do? Right. This is the only fucking thing I want to do.
100%.
I don't care how much money I have. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
If, you know, when you look at it, it's a natural progression. People love fighting. They love self-defense. You get people like Valentina. You get people like Cowboy that they love to shoot and train, and at the core of it is always training, and they embrace that side of it. Is that something that you've gravitated towards too?
Yeah. Let me tell you this. There's this, whether you're some Harvard grad, some sophisticated, you know, guy, and you don't want to think that this is you, you're full of shit. This is exactly who you are. As human beings, okay, we love fighting. Deep down inside our core, it's part of who we are. It's in our DNA.
100%.
We get it and we like it. If a fight broke out in the fucking front of this place right now, we'd all run out and watch it, right? So when you think about the potential for this sport, and this is the way I always thought about it, you know, it works everywhere, you know, because I don't care what color you are, what country you come from, what language you speak. We're all human beings. Fighting's in our DNA. We get it and we like it. I'll give you an example. The NFL. There's nothing bigger than the NFL in this country. I mean, they're saying, oh, ratings were down. The fucking 96 million people watched the Super Bowl on TV,
it's not
and
that far
another
down.
6 million watched it on digital.
Right.
Okay. And that's how it is every year. And if you didn't watch one football game all season, everybody watches the Super Bowl. It's just become this thing to do. Now, in other parts of the world, they could give a shit about the Super Bowl, right? You know, they got soccer or cricket, you know, things like this that they watch. But the one thing that works everywhere and doesn't need to, like, sit down and try and watch a fucking cricket match, okay? Good luck to you trying to figure that out or get excited about it, right? Now, but when a fight is on, doesn't need to be explained to anybody. We get it and we like it. It's
primal.
So it just, fighting works.
Right. It 100% does. And, you know, you originally wanted to start it in boxing. That's what you thought it was going to take shape. Did you have the same feeling when you looked at the MMA stuff where you're like, what the fuck is this? Yeah. You know, I guess because that's the same feeling every new fan goes through. Like, I'm going to watch this. Now, is that something that you went through, like, in your mind? Like, can we really get behind this? Is this where it's going to go?
I saw UFC 1. And I thought it was crazy. I remember everybody, I lived in Boston at the time. I remember everybody saying, oh, there's no way this fight's going to happen. No rules, no this, no that. So we were intrigued to watch the first one. And maybe I watched the next one. I don't remember, but then fell off.
Right.
But once I started taking jiu-jitsu.
Right.
And started to really understand how incredible, you know, the sport of jiu-jitsu is, I fell in love with it.
Right.
Me and the Fertitta brothers from Station Casinos. And we started training 3-4 days a week. And through that, we started to meet some of the fighters. And we completely fell in love with the sport. And then we were like, are we fucking crazy? Or, I mean, we think this will work everywhere. If everybody was introduced to this thing and could watch it, they'd love it.
Back then, though, like when I had Scotty on the show, he said the same thing. Bless you. He goes, but back then, jiu-jitsu was like having superpowers. You know, he's like, if you knew some jiu-jitsu, you could win every bar fight.
That's so true.
Now everybody has a little bit, so it's harder now. But yeah, he made a good point of saying, like, but back then you don't understand. And he goes back like 2005. If you knew jiu-jitsu, you had superpowers.
100%, man. 2001 is when we bought it. We started taking jiu-jitsu back in like 98.
Right.
And if you knew jiu-jitsu in 98, it's like
murdering it.
Yeah. You and a handful of people knew it.
Oh yeah. I was at UMass back then, but yeah, I mean, if you knew anything, I mean, all you knew back then was that throw a haymaker from the fucking back of the bar.
Well, you just saw it was on Barstool and it was everywhere. That college football player.
Oh yeah.
That from Oklahoma that got in a fight in the bar with that kid, you know, much smaller than him. But
big. You're going to see more of that, I think.
They got wrecked.
I think you'll see more of that.
Yeah.
I think as time goes on, you're going to see more because there's too many little guys that are like, fuck it, I'll go take jiu-jitsu. It's, you know, it's like yoga with chokes. It's like, you know.
Look at half of the people that fight in the UFC, the way some of these kids look. Some of these kids, you'd
ferocious.
Be like, if that guy, you know, popped off to you in a bar, you'd be like, hey, dork.
Eric Anders is a great example. You look at him, his body type's totally different than when he was a linebacker.
Eric Anders is a fucking tough-looking dude. I mean,
freak.
I got kids that you'd see that look like, you know.
Freak.
Even Sean O'Malley. You saw Sean O'Malley in a bar, you'd be like, the skinny little fucking curly-headed kid. You know what I mean?
Run your mouth to like Joe Benavidez or something.
Hey, who's that other kid, the jiu-jitsu whiz? What's that kid's name? Chase? Yeah. Oh, yeah, Chase Hooper.
Oh.
You ever see Chase Hooper?
Yeah.
You would literally say, hey, kid.
Who the fuck are you?
Yeah, shut up before I come over there and slap you. And when you woke up from your coma 2 months later.
Back home, we called them sleepers.
Yeah.
He's a little sleeper. He's a sleeper cell. So, yeah, I mean, it's fucking crazy thinking about that. But that must have been fucking awesome time to get into a bar fight. Fuck me. I dodged a bullet. I dodged a bullet back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's funny seeing that evolution though of what you did with the Fertittas and with the UFC and how that's grown, and not financially or anything like that, just the cultivation of people and what you were able to build and the unit that you were able to build and the loyalty. Everybody I talk to, they love working for you. They love being a part of it. And they think it's an amazing culture. And I've been in the PI and ate and had lunch and whatever.
Yep.
And it's just like, I look around and I'm like, this is fucking cool. Do you ever like have that moment?
Yeah. Listen, it's a fact. It's the best place on earth to work. I mean, not just the building and everything else, but you're dead on. The culture that I've built over there over the last several years, it's an incredible place to work, and we have an amazing team. You know, we let people do what they got to do their jobs, and nobody's breathing down your neck. Nobody's fucking telling you you're 15. You know, I used to work in the hotel business.
Oh,
the shittiest shittiest business to be in. You know, these fucking guys, you get these guys that just came out of college and, you know, they're younger than you. You've been there 10 fucking years longer than them. They show up and they start telling you you're 3 minutes late to work.
100%.
You're 5 minutes late from lunch. You know, we're writing you up and all this bullshit. Horrible, horrible place to work. And we're the exact opposite of all of that bullshit.
Now, one of the things I love before I jump to another topic is when you do your videos on IG, the videos before the fights, and you're talking about the fights, the energy. Yeah. Like, I get fired up for the card. It doesn't matter what card it is. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta watch this. Like, so that's like a sleeper thing. How closely do you work with Mick and Sean on putting those together? Because it's fun seeing you do it, and I'm like, this motherfucker's like deeply involved in this. I'm like, this is.
I do all the matchmaking meetings. We do.
It's awesome.
Listen, there's when you build a company like we've built over the last 20 years, you can get distracted by a lot of shit. Whether it's, oh, let's make a movie. We got a video game that kicks ass, merchandise business, you know, tons of sponsors and all these other things that you can. I focus on up and coming talent, the fights, and the production. You stay focused on those three things, you can't fuck this up.
Right.
You know, so I'm heavily involved in all of that stuff. And, you know, we do matchmaking every Tuesday, and these guys will run me down who all the new kids are, this, that, and everything else. And then they put together the Contender Series. They lay out the fights. I walk in. I don't know anything about any of these kids until I get in there and sit down, and then I watch these things play out, and I pick who I think should be the next one to come into the UFC. So
I think it's amazing. I don't know when you sleep. You know, I wouldn't
I didn't
know.
used to sleep. I sleep now.
Now, yeah, it's pretty wild. But that gets me fired up for a card. I'll be looking at it and I'll be like, this guy's more involved than like everybody thinks he is. Like, he ain't sitting in an ivory tower and not getting his hands in the mud.
We dive in every day. I mean, I'm involved in all the features that you watch, the show open, the poster, the commercials, all that shit. I do all of that.
It's amazing. It's actually, because I know the amount of time that it would take. I can't imagine the amount of time that it would take, but I know you need at least 8 hours to function, or maybe 5. I don't know how many hours you're running on, but Jesus, it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of people to shepherd.
Yeah,
that's the big thing, is shepherding the people. Now,
well, the thing is, when you have a company, we have 350 employees. You know, you have to build a good team of guys too around you that you know, that manage these different departments.
Are you the largest employer in Nevada yet?
No, not even close. These casinos.
Right, the casino. I forget, the casinos are so fucking big.
Yeah, the Fertitas have like fucking 42,000 employees or some shit like that.
Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting how big those companies are. I forget, it's crazy. Now, interestingly enough, we get, you know, more than our share of people in here that come from your company and speak so highly of you. Have you ever thought about running for office?
No way in hell.
Never?
No way. No, never. I would never run for office.
Not even consider it?
I love my life. Look at what just happened to Trump and the shit that people talk, and, you know, or Biden. I mean, either side you're on. Look at the shit that people talk about you, your family, and all that. Man.
But you never shied away from the fight.
Yeah,
that's what's intriguing.
It's different, though. I feel like when you're in those type of positions, you can't fight back.
Yeah.
Here, I can fight. I tell people to fuck off every day on, you know, oh, you didn't do this, then don't fucking watch it. Don't watch it. Fuck you.
Right.
Right? You don't like what we're doing. It's a really easy fucking, I got the solution for you. Fuck off, don't watch, and don't follow me. When you're a politician, you cannot defend yourself. You can't fight back. And that would drive me crazy.
If they ever asked you to be an ambassador or something, or they ever want to nominate you for something, would you ever take it or consider it? Something that you'd have to run for?
I don't know. I can't honestly answer that question. I don't know. I mean,
one of those like cushy ambassador of Ireland gigs.
The best relationship I ever had with anybody in politics was President Trump. You know, his 4 years as president was fun. I mean, I went to the White House a million times, hung out with him. I flew on Air Force One 3 or 4 times, had dinner with him in the White House. You know, it was very cool. The way that this guy treated me from the day I met him to today is unbelievable. The guy's been, you know, incredible to me. So, it was fun when he was in there for 4 years.
You think he was treated fairly?
No, he definitely wasn't. Listen, man, Trump's a savage. He's a fighter too, man. This guy, that's a guy that loves the fight, man. Loves the fight, loves to get in there and mix it up. I mean, at his age, with the money he has, all the things he's done, why would you want it to even take a second run at that job? You did it. You accomplished it. He tried to get reelected. So,
I think they're making it easy for him to run again.
Well, one of the things about him is he loves this country, man.
Yeah.
Guy loves this country. He loves to get in there and fight. He wants to make it better for everybody. And, that's just him. I want nothing to do with that shit.
Yeah, I think they're making it easy for him to run again. It'd be interesting to see if he does. I'd be curious to see how that plays out. But
he's a madman.
Yeah, I think he will. I mean, I don't care. He has the fight in him if he's 90. He's like one of those guys. It doesn't matter. He can be 100. He's going to go down.
100% right.
Yeah,
he was built for that.
He should call you and make you vice president. You should vice president the next run. That would be hilarious.
That's funny.
That would be awesome. Is that where it's going, though? A little bit of that celebrity involvement?
I think so. I think it is, unfortunately. I think it is, yeah.
Who do you think the next big celebrity will be that would jump in? The Rock?
The Rock could win.
You think he could win?
He could win.
100%.
The Rock could win.
I could see that.
They actually just did a poll. He's the most likable guy on earth.
The Rock and Taylor Swift would be the ticket. I could see that. I mean, I could see him having him. But Kid Rock, he made a veil attempt, right? It was something like governor or senator.
I think he was running for the
like
governor of Michigan or something.
Yeah, he kind of was in, but he wasn't all in. And, but yeah, there's a few. But it'd be interesting how that plays out. We got to get to midterms and we'll see how that plays out. But that'll be a lot of fun. I think whatever he decides, like you said, I've had a couple experiences with him. Super nice guy. I mean, one of the nicest human beings you'll come across. I've never had a bad experience with him, and he was super great to my industry, and I loved that, and I love that about him, and honest and straightforward, at least always with me. I mean, in terms of, and I loved Don Jr. and his kids, and they were, super good people. So where it goes from here for him, it'll be interesting. But I think if he tapped you on the shoulder and said, "Hey, what do you think about ambassador to Ireland?" Or something,
I've never said no to him. So
yeah.
Everything the guy asked me to do, I've done. So I've never said no to him. He's been a good friend to me for a very long time. So, and he was incredible to me while he was the president.
Yeah, and he came out and he did that whole belt presentation, and looked like a lot of fun. Legitimately looked like a lot of fun, and I think he had fun with that, and that was something that he's always been a fan of the fight game, going way back, and just seeing him do that kind of brought back a lot of nostalgic memories of me sitting in front of the TV back home and seeing him, promoting fights and being involved with stuff, even with the WWE. It was always fun to see him involved, and he's a showman at the end of the day, and that's where I think it's going.
He is. I agree. And as far as celebrities, I mean, I think The Rock would win. If The Rock really wanted to run for president, I think he'd win it.
He might not want the heat, though.
I don't know why anybody would want that.
Yeah, I don't think
unless you're a career politician, I don't know why anybody would want that. It's just
it's too much.
Yeah, it is.
It's too much because it's not just on you. It's on the whole family. 100%. It's on everything. Yeah, that's 100%. The problem.
And you can be the best guy on earth. You can have the image of The Rock, and somebody somewhere is going to find out how to rip you apart.
Yeah, that's the sad thing about politics. Because the SJWs come out of the woodwork, the Twitter weirdos, and they start bashing you. But the politicians, they're scared because they're scared of mainstream people coming in, because then they're all out of jobs.
Yep.
Because that's how it'll change. You know what I mean? That's how it'll change. In Boston, you'll never see a change. There's too much old blood in there, right?
It's true. That place is so old school.
Oh, my God.
That was why I always felt about Boston. I felt like I said, I told you, it's a place that's completely overeducated. I mean, everybody there went to college. And not just fucking, like, college. They went to, like, a really good school.
Right.
They're all good schools in Boston. I was working with people in the hotel business when I was younger. The guy was a security guard at the Boston Harbor Hotel,
like
and had a master's degree from fucking, somewhere. I was like, Jesus Christ. This guy's got a master's degree from there. He's security guard here?
Yeah. I went to UMass and I was like outlawed. I went to Amherst and I'm like outlawed, It's like, what? You didn't go to BC or Harvard? You know, it's like, what the fuck? And then, and then I went to BU after. It's crazy because you're 100% right. There's a hierarchy of schools. Like you could go in any office in Boston and they're like, what? You're not a BC guy or you're not a Harvard guy? You 100%. May as well just move.
The whole fucking city.
Yeah.
There's two things. You you either work for the city, right?
Right.
You're a city worker that, and you get all the benefits and all that shit, or you went to some fucking unbelievable college and got a master's degree.
100%.
That's the whole city.
I never thought of it like completely that way, but that's 100% how it is. They love to like make like there's a hierarchy of like if you walk in an office and you could sit for an interview, and if it was Harvard, Cornell, Tufts, and you were UMass, you may as well just get up and leave.
Right. God forbid you went to fucking Bunker Hill.
Oh God, you're homeless. You're homeless. You're fucking homeless.
You graduate with honors from Bunker Hill.
And with the UMasses, you always had to be like, I went to UMass in Amherst.
Yeah,
because if you said UMass Boston, you were fucking out of work. Yeah. Like that's it.
I did less than a semester at the Boston campus, just
right.
for the record.
You had to run. That's a good. Do you pride yourself on hiring guys that maybe don't have a college degree?
I could care less about that.
Good.
Care less about that. It's who you are, what you know, and how hard you work. I'll take anybody that's willing to fucking die. I want you to love this shit as much as I do.
Right.
You know? And it takes all kinds to run your business. You need somebody that's just that 9-to-5 person that comes in and does their thing. And you need savages, man.
Yeah.
You need guys that love it as much as you do.
Yeah, you can always tell if someone's a killer if they have that killer instinct in business. 100%.
Exactly.
You can see it in them.
It's like you got Bo out here in your lobby out here. You know, this guy's one of the best in the country at what he does. And when we built the PI, we literally went after some of the best in the world. And a lot of these kids, like Bo, were working for, these football, college football teams and things like that, which seems like a great job. Till the fucking coach gets fired.
Right.
Because you're part of their fucking team. Once they're gone,
you're gone.
They bring in their whole new team, and then you're out looking for a job. So we were able to snatch up some really good talent.
You have a tremendous team in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had Bo on the show, Heather. You got a great team in
Heather's
there. Amazing. She's done the show. She's amazing.
Incredible.
She helped me fix my Achilles. I mean, I wouldn't be walking without her.
I don't give a shit what's wrong with you. You go see her for 45 minutes. It's like she heals you. It's like she's like one of those fucking witch doctor medicine people. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable.
Healing powers.
And whenever somebody, shit you not, what's today? Thursday. Yeah. So yesterday or the day before, my daughter got hurt in cheerleading. We didn't send my daughter to fucking Valley Hospital or Summerlin.
Right.
We sent her to Heather. She went to Heather, right straight out of cheerleading to Heather. And
healed.
Yeah, well, she's not healed. Her knees still, but she feels a lot better. We think she's got something wrong with her meniscus, but Heather checked, made sure it wasn't the MCL, the ACL, and all that kind of stuff. She fixed all that, and then wrapped her up. And she said, "Give it a couple days, ice it. Let's get the swelling down and see what's going on." But the bottom line is, I didn't send her to a doctor. I sent her to Heather.
I'm going to call her a witch doctor from now on. I love that.
She's the witch doctor.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask you about these celebrity fights and stuff because I want to get your opinion on this. I've been asking some of the fighters this. What do you think of all these fucking YouTubers and everybody coming out in these, like what I call them, like celebrity cards, for lack of better words? Like, where do you stand on these?
What you should call them is money grabs. They're
money
grabs is what it is. But it goes back to what I was saying earlier. We are fascinated by who's tougher.
Right,
what
right.
I mean? It's like, as human beings, Mike Tyson is a good friend of mine. Been a good friend of mine for a long time. I did his podcast yesterday.
Right.
When he walks in the room, I still go, holy fucking shit, that's Mike Tyson.
Same thing. I mean, best fighter of our generation, right? Hands down.
So as human beings, we are fascinated by who the toughest people in the world are. So there's always this thing. It's going to be like, when Justin Bieber called out Tom Cruise. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's all anybody talked about. I got legit badass fucking fighters, like world champions, guys who've broken records, girls who've broken records. I walk into an interview and everybody's asking me about Justin Bieber and Tom Cruise. Because we want to know who would win.
Who wins?
We're just,
I don't know either.
I don't know. Bieber's a pretty good athlete, man.
Yeah.
Bieber's a pretty good athlete.
Who's taller?
And
That's the better question.
Tom's old, you know?
He's old, but he's cagey.
I'm always going to bet on the younger guy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think these celebrity cards raise a certain amount of intrigue because of that, but also I think the mixing of genres, like seeing whether it's a basketball guy, or maybe it's like, you know, I mean, in our day, like we get into the debates of like Seagal versus Van Damme, or like this one or that one. It's fun. Like we get into like hour-long debates, and being, like I said, being from where we're from, like you could fight about that. We'd fight. I joke with people all the time. They're like, I'm like, are you kidding me? I would fight about a cockroach running across the floor. It's fun to have those debates.
100%.
So those celebrity cards, as you see, like I think, you know, you see two power lifters getting into the ring as a main card, like that shit is fucking crazy. Right. And I think we all want to see how bad it is or how good it is. I mean, from a technical standpoint, it might suck, but
it always sucks.
Yeah.
It always sucks. It isn't going to be the greatest fight you ever saw, but
will they always be money?
Fascinated.
Will they always be money grabs, Dana, or will they evolve into like, I could see like maybe some retired fighters jumping into it because it could be fun to see. Like I guess maybe I'm selfish. Like I like to see some of that shit. Like it'd be cool, and seeing people be human, like you said, and have that humanoid quality come out of like, I want to fight.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No. Listen, it's not my thing. I'm into finding the best in the world and the best fighting the best. I ain't gonna lie. There'll be some fights that will pop up and that shit that I'll watch. You know what I mean?
What'd you think of the Tyson one?
I thought Tyson looked a lot better than I thought he was gonna. So funny. So yesterday, you know, I love Tyson. One of my all-time favorite people, and huge fan of his growing up, and then he and I are really good friends now. So when this happens and they're talking publicly about this, I'm like, I call him and I'm like, dude, you can't fucking do this. Don't do this. Why are you doing this? You know, don't do it. He's like, I feel the fire again. I want to get in there and I want to test myself and I want to do this. And I'm like, Mike, you're too old, man. We're fucking too old to be doing this shit. And you know, you don't need to take any punches to the head and yada, yada, yada. He's like, I said, every year, you know, Shark Week, I do a Shark Week every year. So last year, I talked Tyson into doing. I was on his podcast.
I saw that in the cage and everything. Yeah,
yeah. He says
Tyson versus a great white.
He said he thought I said Shark Tank, so he was going to go out and pitch. And pitch fucking, you know, Tyson Ranch, and he was thinking about what he could do, what business he could pitch. So it's Shark Week. He's like, wait a minute. Oh yeah, you fucking care about me so much. You don't want me to do something that I've been good at my whole life, but you want me to go fucking swim with sharks.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you really care about my well-being. So, you know, he was telling me that story yesterday, which fucking hilarious. But
now, he's going to do more of these. He wants to do more of these.
He's talking about fighting Holyfield this summer.
Does he beat Holyfield before prison? If that fight happened before prison?
Man. Let's not forget. Listen, Tyson.
Because I thought he was unbeatable before prison.
Exactly. Mike Tyson, this, that. Holyfield was a bad boy, man. Holyfield used to go to fucking war with everybody. Holyfield was never in an easy fight, man. Every time Holyfield fought Riddick fucking Bowe 3 times at heavyweight. What was the other big fight with him? Foreman. In the Foreman fight, he hits Foreman with like a 24-punch combination. That was one of the sickest things I've ever seen.
And he was a career cruiserweight that made the leap.
What was the tough cruiserweight fight he had before he moved up to heavyweight? That one bad motherfucker at cruiserweight. They had a war.
I know who you mean.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but I don't know.
It was a similar fight to the fight Hagler had before he fought Sugar Ray, where he took a beating and you didn't know if he was going to come out of it, you know, and Sugar, that was when Sugar Ray said, now's the time. You know what I mean? I think he's weak. And I know the fight you're talking about.
Incredible. It was an incredible war.
Yeah.
But I think Holyfield doesn't get the credit that Holyfield deserves. Holyfield was one of the baddest dudes of all time. Chin of steel.
Underrated champion.
Completely underrated. Yeah.
Might be the most underrated.
A dog back in the day, man.
What was his name, Rory? Oh, right.
Huh? Dwight Muhammad Cowie.
Muhammad Cowie. Yeah.
Incredible fight.
Yeah, I remember watching the Chasing Tyson, and they showed some of that, and Yeah, I mean, Tyson of our generation, I always say the Tyson before prison was a different Tyson.
I agree.
And I think the Riddick Bowe thing aside, I mean, people forget he lost. There's a lot of shit going on. But if he had got past that and got past if the prison thing didn't happen, he's a different fighter. I mean, he was a different human being. And I know people have criticized him, you know, but I think he was a fucking animal. And of our generation, one of the most recognized sports figures that to come out. It's still.
Think about this when we talk about fighting too, right? You know, Tom Brady, we talked about the NFL and how big it is. You know, who's more decorated than Tom Brady as an NFL player? There's parts of the world where they don't know who Tom Brady is. You know what I mean? Gretzky in hockey, plenty of places in the world where they don't know who Gretzky is. There's massive cricket players that we have no idea who the fuck they are.
Right.
But when you think about the most famous people that have ever walked the face of the earth, they've been fighters, man.
Right.
You know, you think about Ali, right? Mike Tyson.
It's true.
Even Manny Pacquiao. I mean, people know Pacquiao all around the world. Mayweather. It's just, how about Bruce Lee?
Yeah.
Bruce Lee fucking died in 1973. Kids know who Bruce Lee is today. Right?
It's crazy. And he wasn't in any...
How old are you?
40.
40. I'm 50, right? Do you remember Gilligan's Island?
Yes, 100%.
Gilligan's Island was the biggest fucking show on TV when I was a kid.
Right.
Everybody knew the stars of Gilligan's Island, right? All this shit. Kids these days don't know who the fuck people were from Gilligan's Island.
No clue.
Right? And all the popular shows that were on TV back then. Kids know who Bruce Lee is today.
Right. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And he wasn't in like exceptionally great movies. Like he hadn't done any big, you know, Enter the Dragon was the biggest production. It's nuts, you know. And people still compare him even to UFC fight. They're like, oh, what do you win in a fight in the UFC? I mean,
and it's not like Enter the Dragon plays on on you know, big TV platforms or things like that for these kids. As human beings, we are fascinated by who the toughest people in the world are, and we're just drawn to it. You ask kids, ask fucking kids. Next time you're in a room, ask kids if they know who Bruce Lee is.
Right.
They do.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy to think about. Now, you brought up the Brady thing, and I have to bring it up because you're wearing the jersey today. Is he the best athlete of all time? Now? Most winningest?
Yeah.
Where does he fall for you?
It's tough to...
It's hard to argue. Does Jordan still sit a little higher?
I don't know, man. I don't think so. I think Brady is...
I put him above Jordan now. I don't...
Listen, I mean, another sport that doesn't get the recognition it deserves is surfing, and Kelly Slater is one of the greatest athletes.
Ridiculous.
He's still competing, you know, at a high level at his age.
Yeah.
But Brady, Slater, guys like that have...
I think after this one, this is the most underrated one, in my opinion, of all his wins, because who he went through and the age and stage of the game he's at. He literally did something no one else has done, do it in a whole nother conference, and the way that he did it, and he looks like he's having so much fun now. Yep. And that's the difference. And I'm happy for him. Even though he's not in New England and he's not doing it for our team, I'm happy for him as a human being because it looks legitimately fun.
Me too. Boston people were going fucking crazy on me because I'm supporting Brady down or whatever. Are you out of your fucking mind? This guy gave us 20 incredible years. We were fucking dominant for 20 years. We were winning championships.
Yeah. And it was the right thing for him to move.
It was awesome.
It was the right thing for him to move. But I see it mainly as, for him, to me, this puts him a cut above Jordan. If he was neck and neck with him before, I think this one puts him ahead.
I agree with you.
I can't argue, you know, and I get what
He's
Jordan
got way
did.
more championships too.
He's got way more championships, and the thing with Jordan was the dominance.
Yeah.
That time period, the dominance. I mean, he came right back from baseball and boom, you know, won 3 more. And the way that he
Jordan
did it.
era was fun, man. It was a lot of fun. But so was the Brady era.
Right. And Jordan did it. The thing with Jordan, why he gets the respect, is everybody knows he motored through a tough as nails Pistons team. He dealt with the Celtics and Lakers, and he was just a fucking animal. And he was like in people's faces, and he knew what it take to win a championship. And everybody got on his coattails and rode with him. But the Brady thing, going into a new conference, a new team, I got a lot of respect for that guy doing that.
A team that didn't even make the playoffs the year before he came.
Fucking crazy.
Wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and he's still throwing the ball.
Yep.
It's just fucking unbelievable.
It really is. It's incredible. And it could not happen to him. He's a good friend of mine, too.
Yeah, and
could not happen to a better guy. He's the best guy.
Seeing him party a little and have fun.
I love that.
Love it.
Me too.
It makes him human, right?
I think when he walked out of that thing stumbling drunk, it made more people like him. I think it made more people that didn't like Brady liked him when they saw that.
Did you see the T-shirt? It says "Nothing to see
Yes,
here."
it's so
I'm
good.
fucking dying.
My son has one.
Yeah, I wanted one. I was like, I
got
gotta get one of these. Nothing to see here.
Somebody was wearing one the other day, and he posted, "I'm never gonna live this down."
Right. He's not wrong, but it's funny. It's still like a good thing.
It's a great thing.
Now, all that aside, you are a fan of sports. You love sports. Do you have your eye on anything else that you're going to get your hand in?
I'm a fan of, listen, one of the keys to being happy in life is being a fan of things. I'm a fan of live music. I love to go to concerts all the time.
Right.
When Rage Against the Machine has a fucking concert again, I'm going to be in the fucking pit, right up front in the middle of all the fucking shit when that happens. One of my all-time favorite bands, and I can't wait till they tour again. I'm a big fan of the Celtics. You know, I go to as many games as I can when the world is normal. I'm a big fan of the Patriots. Yeah, so I like, you know, whether I go with my friends or I go with my kids, I fucking love it.
What about making a play for a sports team outside of the UFC?
Well, without talking too much about it, we did, and you know, me and my partners made a bid on one of the teams, and we didn't get it, and I'm glad that we didn't.
Right.
Because right after we did, all this shit happened, you know, with COVID and stuff, and I'm glad we didn't get it. Really fucking glad we didn't get it.
Was it a New England team?
No.
Fuck.
No.
Because I'd love to see you make that triumphant return, right?
Listen, you know, Mr. Kraft is one of the greatest fucking people you will ever meet. He's such a good guy, and such a great owner. What a great fucking owner he's been too. You know, for New England and for the Patriots. I have so much respect for that guy. I love him.
He's one of the best owners in sports, in my opinion,
ever.
in terms of what he's done. Because people haven't been to that facility, and everybody copies what's been done in Foxborough since.
He's a good man. He's a good human being.
He's a worker, too.
He is. He's savage.
Savage. At his age and stage of the game, he ain't giving up a piece of the rock.
And he's out fucking hanging out. Doing cool shit.
Yeah. You know? I before I left there and had moved, I saw him out at like a Del Frisco's, like, late, and I'm like, down the wharf, and I'm like, wow, like he's like 80. I'm like, this is fucking crazy.
How fucking good is that Del Frisco's?
It's unbelievable.
Is that place?
It's
awesome?
unbelievable.
We fucking eat there every time we go there.
It's unbelievable.
Their wine selection is ridiculous, and that Del Frisco's in Boston on the waterfront is incredible.
My sister worked there forever. Originally, when it first opened,
did she make good money there?
Yeah, she used to murder it.
Fucking place is packed every night, and I'll put that food up against any of the other steakhouses in this country.
Is that your favorite steakhouse?
It's one of them.
What's your favorite one here?
It's my favorite one in Boston. That's for damn sure.
What's your favorite one here besides the PI?
Favorite one here, my favorite steakhouse. I mean, we haven't really, you know, used to be the place over at the Palms there. They just shut down. Scotch 80.
Yeah.
Scotch 80 was the spot.
Barry's is open now.
I haven't eaten
You
there
got to
yet.
go there.
I heard it's
I
good.
went there. It's good. Yeah, it's real good.
I toured the place. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Circa's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy.
How about the balls on him to build that casino downtown
Stones
during the fucking pandemic, and it is literally the new hotspot in town. Anytime you go to that's where the podcast was for Tyson yesterday.
Right.
You go there, and the place is fucking packed. Every time you go there.
Yeah.
We went there yesterday in the afternoon. There were shitloads of people there.
Yeah.
You go to some of these other casinos, and it's ghost town.
Yeah.
That place is packed. What he's done is unbelievable.
And he makes a hell of a steak.
And the D was cool, too.
Yeah, it's a hell of a... I mean, it takes stones of steel to build something like that and do that during the pandemic.
I'm talking about Circa.
The whole place.
You know, Derek Stevens having the balls to build that fucking casino, man.
What's he into that for?
Oh, big money, man. But he owns half the street down there now, you know? He owns that. He owns the D. He owns... What's the other places down the street? Yeah, Golden Gate.
Right.
You know, he owns all those. He made the Golden Gates really nice too.
Who owns the lot next to the Trump? That fucking huge lot.
I don't know.
I find that out.
I don't know.
I
But Derek Stevens owns a big lot down there too.
Yeah.
He does concerts on that thing, and the fucking pool at Circa. Oh, it's unbelievable. Anybody that's listening to this podcast right now and you're from out of town, and you're coming into town, you have to go check out Circa downtown. The casino's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. We went there for Steve Siegel's birthday. Owns Pink Box, and we got a chance to eat in there and hang out. And fucking, it was crazy because during that party, what was I saying? Not who came in? Flavor Flav came in during the fucking party. I was like, holy shit! It was really interesting. But you did the podcast in there too. That might have fucking been bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he does that podcast as a traveling podcast too.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, where is the ranch? Where's he have that ranch?
I don't know. I've never been. I'm not a big weed guy, so I don't know.
Hey, but they got that cleared by your fighters, right? The fighters can, they can get high now, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they love that.
Yeah, they
It's not my thing either, but they fucking love that. They came in here and they were looking at my dump trays and they're like, "This is perfect for weed." You know, I think the whole weed thing is bullshit, though. I think it's horse shit that's like an illegal substance for fighters. If they use it for therapy, they microdose.
But
whatever.
we grew up, this is your brain. This is your brain
and on drugs,
and,
right?
That whole.
I learned it by watching you, Dad.
Exactly.
Right.
It worked though. I didn't fuck with any of that.
Nancy
shit.
Reagan. Right? It's fucking crazy. It is true, actually. It's kind of a hard thing to overcome, and I can understand the reasons, but it for the fighters, I get. You think that'll trickle over to the NFL? It's got to, right?
Yeah, probably.
It has to.
I think in the next 10 years, weed is going to be looked at like alcohol.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I don't get it. I love that you guys are ahead of the curve on that. And I don't know if CBD, if you get anything out of that. I don't get shit out of that. I don't know that CBD does anything.
Well, we both love Heather and we think the world of her. She swears by it, man.
Swears by it.
And,
yeah, she had me rubbing it on.
And the reason they know is obviously, when these physical therapists work on you, their hands get all busted up. And she's saying that when she uses the CBD, her hands feel amazing. And so there's something to it. They believe in it.
Maybe there is something to it. I don't know. I can't. I have to look at the science. I don't know enough about it.
I don't know anything about it.
I'm in the weeds on that. Now, you got to fight this weekend, right?
Yep.
You got fights this weekend.
I have fights every weekend, man.
Fights this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Now, big one's coming up, though, with Stipe and Francis.
Well, next weekend, we got 3 title fights. Next weekend, we got Israel Adesanya moving up to 205 to try to take Blachowicz' title. And the GOAT, we got Amanda Nunes fighting, Jan versus Sterling. Great card. We got nothing. The rest of this year, we got nothing but badass fights coming up. And yes, the Stipe and Gano fight's going to be ridiculous.
Is Amanda the GOAT?
Yes. Oh, fuck yeah.
Now
she's holding 2 titles right now simultaneously and defending them both, 35 and 45. Nobody's ever done that.
But everybody wants to see Valentina and Willie and then a showdown.
I want that too. Listen, first, what everybody wants to see is Rose versus Weili Zhang, and obviously,
I think that
if
has
Weili
to
Zhang
happen.
wins, you do her versus Shevchenko, which will be ridiculous.
Now, I disagree with you on something. I'm a John Jones fan. I put John Jones ahead of what's his face, Khabib. And
why did I not?
No, you were like, oh, Khabib's the GOAT, and he's
No. I've been saying John Jones.
I got John Jones and a far notch higher because of how many he's headlined.
I'm with you.
To me, Khabib.
No, I'm with you.
To be Khabib's only had 6 meaningful fights in the UFC, in my opinion.
Jones has been doing it for years, and the thing you got to realize about Jones too is he wasn't doing the right thing the whole time, and still dominated the way that he did.
What's crazy is he might not even be the best athlete in his family.
That is crazy.
That is fucking crazy.
Yeah. That is one,
blessed family.
100%. Absolute freaks.
But has he passed the echelon of is he the best of all time? Has he passed everybody else? That's the
Who, Jones?
question. Yeah.
100%.
You believe it?
100%. Yeah, he's the best of all time. The
way he just puts it together. People forget he beat Dan Henderson in a grappling match, right?
Habib is so dominant, and so badass. I would love to see the guy stick around and break some records and do some stuff, but I have dinner with him on Saturday, so
we'll see.
I'm not done. I'm still fucking terrorizing him.
But there's nobody left in that division, right?
Beat them all twice then.
Yeah. Is that what you believe?
Yeah. Then beat them all twice.
Run through it twice.
Make sure there's no doubt about it that. And
Adesanya could make a run at it.
He could.
He's got a little ways to go.
Well, imagine if he beats Blachowicz next Saturday.
Right.
If he beats Blachowicz, Then you have then he wants to fight the winner of Stipe and Francis will fight, and the winner will fight John. And if John wins, he wants to move up to heavyweight and fight John Jones.
Now, my homeboy, I'm loving Chiesa's rise in fucking welterweight. Like, I'm loving that. Like,
Yeah.
I'd like to see Mikey disrupt in there
Yeah.
and make a run at it. I love that. I mean, I see interesting things for him in that division. I love that division.
Yeah, he's talented.
Yeah, he's dangerous, and he's putting it all together right now at the right time.
Yep.
You
I
know,
agree.
he might be better for you in the booth though, long term. Who knows?
Nah, listen. If you have the opportunity to fight, the booth isn't going anywhere.
Yeah,
The booth is always going to be there. Fighting won't be.
that's true. That's true. Does Adesanya ever make it to light heavy or potentially? Does he make those leaps like he wants? He's talked about it. He's alluded to it. Does he make those
You mean
weight
heavy?
leaps?
Well, he's fighting light heavyweight.
He's fighting
next
light heavy
weekend.
now. Do you think he'll eventually? Because he's talked about not being afraid to.
Heavyweight's a fucking
Big boys.
yeah. Look at Francis Ngannou. You know what I
Huge.
mean?
Beastly.
Guy, exactly.
Terrifying.
Exactly.
I see him right over here all the time. Terrifying.
Exactly.
Terrifying.
And that guy ain't the guy he was last time Stipe beat him.
Right. I see Francis winning that, and then I think you got a massive showdown with John Jones after that. A
agree.
massive showdown.
I agree. It'll be
that I
big.
think breaks every pay-per-view record. I don't care what anyone says, because I'd be the first to sign up.
I hope you're right for that one. I'm in.
Yeah. Now, what is it about all those guys, whether it's John Jones, Valentina, they all love shooting sports too.
Yeah.
They all fucking love it.
Yeah, I think that fighting and guns and all that shit goes hand in hand. It's
It's that desire to be more capable, right?
yeah, and it's true. A lot of these guys. Look at Jones. I mean, fucking that guy is all about
Tactical
the guns,
gear
right?
and
Exactly.
shoot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that when you're a fucking badass, you want to be as well-rounded of a badass as you can. I mean, you know the Shevchenko story. I mean, they, I guess her and her manager were eating in a restaurant somewhere, and some guy came in busting up, shooting the place, and, it was either her or the manager fucking killed the guy, you
Yeah.
know? So, these people are just bad motherfuckers in every sense of the word.
Yeah, they don't hesitate.
Yeah.
And they're willing to train for it. That's what's
Right.
amazing. You get, Cody Stamen, Cowboy, all these guys, they're constantly like, they come in here, they do the show, and they're constantly striving to be more capable.
I have all kinds of guns. I mean, I have tons of guns, and I love guns too, but I don't fuck with the guns. When I do the guns, I have police officers that are they come in, they handle the guns, they clean the guns, they set the guns up. I pick it up and go fucking shoot it, and that's it. I don't really play around with the guns, but I love them.
It's a fine line with these guys of how well trained they are in all facets. I think you get some bad motherfuckers walking around that PI, and that's what makes it exciting. And I love everything that you're doing there, and I think it's going to continue to get fun. I don't want to, take up too much of your time and crush you. We've been going at it how long, Rory? Over an hour? We over? Yeah. Well, I know you're busy, and I know we're on a time crunch.
That's a pleasure, man. Thank you, and I want to thank all the sponsors of this show for the love they showed me.
Yeah, and you'll be spending some time with them coming up, hopefully.
Yep, I love it.
Yeah,
So,
we gotta get you to. We'll get you up to SIG. We'll get you to New Hampshire at some point.
thanks to everybody that took care of me, man. It's really nice.
Yeah, I know I'm under strict orders to get you out of here at a certain hour.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, I think so. I think they wanted me to cap me at how long do you need them? Like you got layers, man. It's hard to.
Well, my head of PR, she's a little gangster.
Oh, yeah.
She's awesome.
And it's funny trying to get in touch. I'm like, I reached a point where I was like, we're from the same fucking town. I'm like, there's got to be a way. So it's hard to get. You're a tough man to get in touch with, but I appreciate you more than you know. Being from where we are, being someone that I could say, see this dude, he's fucking getting it done and he's crushing it, and it means a lot. And I'm not gonna stroke you because that means a lot coming from back home, seeing what you're doing, guys out there like Rogan, certain people. I'm always rooting for the guys from back home. It means a lot to see that. So
Thanks,
I appreciate you.
I appreciate it very much, and congrats to you. What a cool gig this is. This is fucking awesome.
Listen, it doesn't suck, but someday it might be something, right? Maybe someday I'll be in a different studio. It'll be a different thing.
Why would you want a different studio? This is fucking great.
I could add a few more acres on. We could put more walls.
Acres. You're looking for acres. Got it. All right.
You got some lots at the UFC that aren't being used.
This is a badass This is the coolest set I've ever been on.
Maybe I could someday be in the UFC doing it. Who knows?
There you go.
Right? So I appreciate it, and I appreciate all the sponsors and everybody. Head over to the website. Head over to www.johnbartoloshow.com. Remember to like and subscribe. And I want to thank Dana for taking the time, especially, and everybody that he sends over from the UFC. It means a lot. It means the world. I love having those guys on and everything he's doing over there. Appreciate it. We're out.